Hello everybody. I would like to thank Brenda for giving this opportunity for me to speak today. This would be our first TED Talk, and I wanted to speak something which is really close to my heart. And I've been thinking of what I should speak to. What I could find of was whatever I'm going to say today is something which is really close to my heart, and it's the I am journey. So whenever we talk about what is I am and what do I mean by the I am journey, I think as I proceed, I believe you will come closer to what I mean by the I am journey which I'm going to talk about to you today. So I was born in Shimla in India. It's a very beautiful place. I was born in January, and it snows in January, and this is Shimla where I was born. So you could see all of this. I used to enjoy my birthdays there and make snowmen. This is the most sweet memory of my heart which I remember of my hometown. Something which I miss in Singapore. And when I was a kid, I was a very curious kid. So I used to ask my mother a lot of questions. I used to ask her something I believe all of us must have asked our mothers, and that is, why do I have to study? Have you all asked, why do I have to study, Mom? And she used to say, because everybody has to study. And I was like, why do everybody has to study? Then she's like, because everybody has to become something in your life. You also have to become something in your life. Then it's like, okay, then who am I now? You know, that was a very innocent question, which I didn't know in my life would make me go and discover something which is about to share with you now. So life went on. I was studying as a child, and I finished my schooling, and I was 18. And this is my father, and that's me. And the second beautiful thing about my life is my father. With somebody I share a very beautiful relationship with. So I was studying in a boarding school where I was studying my first year of information and technology. That is what I did my graduation in. And he came over to see me, and I wasn't well. I was having a very high fever. And just when he visited me, he had called me 2 days ago, and he was just bragging about his friend's daughter who is, was going to some academy to learn how to be a cabin crew and air hostess. And he was praising her by saying, she studies and she goes there and she's just 18, look, how bright the kid is. And you don't even want to study. so I was like, he was just playing with me like I always used to play with him and verbally. I was like, okay, father, I can also do that. It's not a very big deal. And the conversation just died down after the phone call. But just because he came to see me and I wasn't feeling well, he told me that you were not staying here, you're coming over with me. So I went over with him to my home, and then we again started the same conversation that you praised your friend's daughter and you said this thing to me. And he said, okay, you want to give this interview? She's going for the interview. Do you want to try it? I said, yeah, I will try it. I would do it. And it became a situation for me where I really wanted to prove myself that, no, father, I am better daughter than her. So you cannot praise anybody's daughter in front of me. And I decided that I would go for the interview. So I Googled everything about what a cabin crew has to be, what are the requirements, and how I can actually go. So the day I was to go for the interview, before that I actually prepared for my dress. I had never worn a pencil skirt. I was a tomboy. And I went to that girl and I told her that, could you tell me how do you wear your skirt? Like, I want to get the same skirt. So she actually guided me to get that skirt, and I got that skirt. I remember I got it from Raymond's. My father got it for me, and then I went off to, because I never had pencil heels, I was a tomboy, so he went to buy pencil heels for me, and I went for the interview. The day when we were going for the interview, he told me, listen, Ravi, this is not something which is very serious. You're just going there so that once you finish your graduation, you know how to face an interview, how to face people when they are actually interviewing you. I said, okay, that's inside out. I'm going to make sure that I get into this, and I prepared very well, and I had actually searched everything. What if they ask me this? What do I have to answer and everything? So we went for the interview. The interview was in the morning at 9 o'clock, and there were thousands of people out there, and you know how cabinet interviews are. So and I was just 18 with no experience of anything. We had 10 rounds in which I was selected, and by the evening at 7, I was among 10 people out of all those 500 who had come that day. And my father was shocked, and he's like, and he didn't want to discourage me because he had never planned this path for me ever, that I'm going to do this. It was just for fun for him, and so he didn't want it to, drown my enthusiasm and the spirit I went on to. So he decided that I can go for the training and I can fly as long as I want to. And if I don't like it, I can always, come back and do something else. And I can study part-time. So this was a decision made by him, being my very loving father. So I decided that I would go for him to become an air hostess. So when I was flying, I went to a lot of places. This is what flying gave me. It gave me a life to go to different countries, experience beautiful cultures, meet beautiful people, and understand different, perspective of every human being. I went into modeling also for a very short time. You can see in the corner right there. So I tried everything, which was very enjoyable and very fun. But suddenly, I don't know why, I had this question still lingering on with me, which was that, who am I and what am I? And there was this deep search about something, that there's something more to life rather than just going out and flying and getting a job at 18, whereas all the people who I had studied with are still studying and are struggling to earn. And I was going out places and earning money more than them, which they would earn after 3 years of completing their graduation. And I was confused, and this question just kept around. And I felt, what is life about? When I was a kid, I also used to feel, what is life about? It is about that I have to earn money and eventually one day just, die without taking that money with me when I die. I don't know where I'm going to go when I die. And everybody says certain things. So who am I really, Am I just this person who used to be my father's daughter or my mother's daughter? Or am I this person who's now flying, who calls herself a cabin crew? Or was I a student, which I used to call myself earlier? I had so many titles. I'm a girl, I'm a woman, my name is this. So actually, who am I? And that discovery, it took me a longer time, and it took me a longer journey to actually eventually go to it. So I met one of my teacher, but before that I'll tell you that the same kind of theory you can also see in Greek mythology, which talks about know thyself. In Sufism, in Islam, they also talk about the Al-Hijja, that I am the truth. So there were different variation in everywhere around the world which was going through, and I have been to all these places, so I could see that it's everywhere, but I still do not know what does it mean. And if you go to India, it says that you are. In Sanskrit, it's called Tattvamasi. And all this made me feel that even though I have money, I have the luxury to fly, I have the luxury to everything, but still I lost purpose in life. I don't know what I want to do. And it kept me thinking, and I was very lucky that I found a teacher. I found a teacher who I just met him accidentally, or maybe by chance, or maybe I was destined to meet him. So I met him, and I asked all these questions to him, where he started guiding me, and I was still flying at that time. And he started guiding me, he started telling me, okay, if you're so interested, why don't you try this experiment? So when I met this teacher, he told me, you stand in front of the mirror. I said, okay. And then you say, I am, and after that you say your name, which is, my name is Rose. I'm Rose. Okay, then what do? I am an air hostess. And then after that, are you a girl or I'm a female? Okay. Then after that, what are you? Just keep saying I am and keep adding all these things. And I did that. And after that, say, what do you think is the most constant thing in all of this? And that was I am. Everything else in my life kept changing. I was a student, it changed. I'm working as a carpenter, it will eventually change. I was single, it changed. But one thing which did not change in my life was this I am. So what is this I am? He really shook me with this questioning of this, and I really wanted to deep dive and understand what this I am is. And eventually, I actually relate my story to the hero's journey. If you have read about Joseph Campbell, he has written a book called The Hero's Journey. If you go into any of the Hollywood movies, you will realize that they use this story which tells about that what a hero's journey is. You always. So Joseph Campbell says that in the cave you fear to enter lies the treasure you seek. And it has something to do with my journey. And that is, okay, so I was moving here in the hero's journey. There was a call of adventure when I met my teacher. I was already looking for this meaning, that what is this I am, who I am, what does this mean, And I got a mentor, but I had to do something to actually know this, and that was I had to leave my job. I was in a very good position. I was promoted and I was leading. I used to lead the whole aircraft. I was a purser of the flight. I used to earn very well, and I used to at that time, and I decided that it was the most riskiest thing to do. I would leave everything. I would leave my job. I leave my family, and I would not marry at that time. And I decided to move on with my quest, and I went on to the ashram, which is in India. I went there to join a monastic order, and as a monastic, I learned for 2 years these scriptures. I learned the Indian scriptures, which are these. There are 9 philosophies in Indian philosophy. So I went on to study these philosophy under a teacher in a monastic order, rather than studying it in an academy environment. The reason I chose to do that was because I just did not want to study the words what we study in academics. I really wanted to imbibe them and live them, and I really wanted to understand that. Because my teacher used to tell me that I can tell you in words what this I am means, but I cannot make it clear to you unless and until you experience it. So how could I do that? I decided that I would enter that cave of my hero's journey. I would enter that cave. I would leave everything that I have with the faith that I will eventually triumph from that. And I did. So I went on, and that's me, clad in white. When I was in that monastic order, I was studying philosophy, that's me. When I was studying there, there was this thing which we used to do. That was, we used to get up at 4:30 in the morning. We had a special, we had to leave all the luxuries of life. We could not use internet. We had to go by the most strictest and disciplinary way of how monastic order is. And these are some of the things which I learned from them, that you have to leave your sensual desires. And I believe people, when they think of sensual desires, they think that it's all about sex. But no, my dear, it's also about eating. You love, sensual desires mean anything which comes from the 5 senses. So you love to eat, and you love to watch movies, or you like to lie down, whatever. So you have to be disciplined upon that. I was taught by the routine which they gave me. Get up at 4:30, go to the temple, do the Vedic chanting, then come back, do your class. After that, you do the breakfast, which was only served how much quantity you can get, and only that which doesn't have certain ingredients which are not allowed to eat. So it was completely controlling your five senses. Then the second version is also ill will. That is that you might have a grudge about some person. You might think that this person is not good, or you might feel that the situation is not well, or I do not want to walk this path because I do not like the rain. I do not like to get wet. So you would want to actually stop yourself and do not walk forward this path. So this is another version of mine which they teach you that what are the practices you can actually do to come out of it. The third is sloth and or which is basically another version of our mind where we actually think that okay, I just want to laze around. I do not feel like doing anything, and your mind. Sloth is more of physical form, and torpor is more mental, where you feel heavy about it. And this is one of the version of mind which actually pulls you down. And it just doesn't have to do anything with spirituality, but also in our daily lives. I believe we all face these aversions. And the fourth is the restlessness and the worry which we have about life. I have met everybody who's very restless about how I'm going to do this, what will happen to this, my child, my mother, my this. I mean, we all face that being a human. And how could you actually control your restlessness and your worry? The fifth is the skeptical doubt which you all have, which is the last one, which is like, okay, you talk about all these things, but I do not believe in this, or I do not believe in that. Or what if this doesn't work? Maybe if when I was leaving my job, I had this doubt that I would never get to work again. I would never have taken that road, and I would never have been where I am today. Then the answer to this is that just let it rain. Don't think about it so much. Just let it rain. There are 4 steps you can actually do to avoid these hindrances. Which are these? The first one is that recognize that which part of these aversions are there in your mind. And then learn to accept them. Once you accept your own truth, you don't fight it. You stop fighting it. Once you have accepted it, that okay, this is what is troubling me, and you have accepted it, you can move to another phase, which is acknowledging it. And after you have acknowledged it, then allow that situation, it's a person or a situation or whatever, to be that. You are not the person who has to do something about it. You just have to do with your own mind. You have to just control your own mind. Once you are able to do that, once you are able to control your own mind, once you know the aversions of your own mind, I believe no matter whatever you're doing, whether you believe in spirituality, you don't believe in spirituality, you want to have a materialistic life or you want to have a spiritual life, you'll be able to walk forth in whatever you endeavor to do. Maybe your spiritual journey is not about searching the I am. It's about getting something else from life, getting a high raise, getting somewhere in your life where you've been dreaming to go. Maybe it's a long-term goal where you want to go. So my understanding and my solution to what I am is I was able to find it in those 2 years which I spent in that ashram. That was my solution. Maybe that is not for you. But have you ever thought of what you can do in your hero's journey to achieve whatever aversion right now you're facing in your life? It could be anything. Have you identified it? That what is that aversion that is troubling and bothering you, and what you could do to actually manage it? Then I came into Singapore. I started flying again. And I went into coaching people. I am a certified ICI coach, and and if anybody of you ever face some aversions in your life regarding any of the shit, you can always come up to me, and I'll be most happy to help you, or not help exactly, enable you, because it is there in you to do the best of yourself. With this, I would like to end that there is information possible to be shared with words, but it is impossible to share the experience of clarity when you are standing at the peak by yourself. So I want you all to start your journey, to start your own hero's journey today.